You know the saying, absence makes the heart go fonder. Now actress Sarah Jessica Parker is saying it's part of how she and actor husband Matthew Broderick have made their marriage work for 20 years. Sarah Jessica told Girl Boss Radio how the couple's busy careers have impacted their marriage. I know it sounds nuts, but we have lives that allow us to be away and come back together. I think that's been enormously beneficial because we have so much to share in a way. Question is, are Sarah Jessica and Matthew onto something? Joining us to dig a little deeper into this is licensed marriage and family therapist, Dr. Erin Foster.
Welcome.
Welcome. So, how could this situation potentially help couples?
Okay, this situation is so valuable because what makes a marriage work, what makes a relationship work, is when you have two individual people that come together in a partnership. Now, in order to be a sort of separate, healthy, whole individual, you have to have a sense of who you are. How do you do that? How do you figure out, how do I meet my needs? You gotta spend time apart. So when you know how to meet your own needs, you can come back to your partner and also meet theirs.
I love this because at first blush, when you read that, you think, oh, they spend so much of their career apart, working on different projects. It would be the death knell of any relationship, and I think that's the first reaction. So what if someone wanted to try this in their marriage? Meaning, okay, let's maybe try a little bit of this apart together. What are the precautions people should take?
If you don't have that trust communication there, you run the risk of having the door open for things that you may not agree with, right? So you have to have mutually agreed upon boundaries for how this works, because we don't want any jealousy, we don't want any resentment. That'll be the death of the relationship.
Clearly, Dr. Foster, I mean, that foundation that you describe is so important, but any relationship, remember when you first meet somebody and then you're away from them for a while and you start missing them and you want to see them again, you can tap into that sentiment. We've all felt it, and it works. It still works for me after 30-something years of marriage. And, you know, I agree, it's worked well for me. We're separated a lot of the time, but I think you need to be independent people by nature.
Correct. For
that to work. If one or either partner is really dependent, needy on the other person, you may not get that effect.
So what's gonna happen, like, for example, when you have a loving relationship, but one partner wants to spend this much time apart and the other partner wants to spend this much time apart? How do you compromise?
How do we compromise? Understanding and identifying each other's feelings is where you come to the compromise. Because if you feel heard and validated, are you more willing to give more to your partner? I know I am. And then you have this sense of, when the distance is there, hey, I remember what I liked about that person. I remember why I fell in love with them. I missed that little thing about them. So when you come back together, you reshare in that old kind of flame connection.
And I just ask you about people who, they love each other and they work together, they spend all their free time together, but they are happy with their relationships. Do you think that that's okay as long as they like it, or could those people benefit from spending some time apart?
We have to look at, is this a codependent relationship? That would be unhealthy. We all know that. Or is this just what works for them? It's a really case-by-case sort of situation, but it's important to make sure that that togetherness isn't what is feeding the person's sense of identity. That's when it would be unhealthy.
And I think it does. A relationship does combine two individuals. I know when I interviewed Sarah Jessica Parker in New York a few years ago, I was really impressed with her independence and how she carried herself. So this statement from her made a lot of sense. You may remember we had Suzanne Summers on our stage just a few months ago, if even that. She hadn't spent a night alone from her husband, and I believe it was 30+ years or more, and happiest couple I've ever talked to in my life. So I think it's...
He's her business manager. He is there 24/7 dealing with all of her wheeling and dealing and projects and things like that. So
then again, they're outliers as well because they claim they were having sex 12 to 14 times.
So there. So that begs
anyway,
the question whether they were being totally truthful or not. There you go.
But I think there's good takeaway with this. Dr. Foster, thank you so much for your thoughts on this.